On any given day in 1920, you could hop on an electric train in Fall River, Massachusetts, and be in the center of Providence, Rhode Island within the hour. Service was provided every 30 minutes between the cities, but closer to Providence, there were trains every 15 minutes or less. The total travel time between East Providence and Providence Station was 6 minutes, thanks to the Crook Point Railroad Bridge and the East Side Tunnel built in 1908. This is something that would come in handy today with the 195 West portion of the Washington Street Bridge closed due to structural deficiencies found this past week. Immediately after the closure, traffic was in gridlock for hours on end as a detour over the nearby Henderson Bridge proved inadequate to handle the highway traffic. People couldn't get to school or work as they attempted to navigate the local streets that probably have never seen this level of traffic before. Not only did this affect the greater Providence area, but it snarled traffic in Newport, Rhode Island, where some folks attempted to use the Pell Bridge as a detour route. While the repair work on the bridge is estimated to take at least 3 months, traffic improved a few days after the closure, with two detoured 195 West lanes on the separate but adjacent 195 East Bridge. While it makes traffic flow easier, it creates a bottleneck for both traffic's directions, so it really still is an issue. This critical piece of infrastructure failing goes to show how important alternative modes of transportation are in today's car-centric world. This one single road bridge snarled traffic halfway across the state in already traffic-stricken areas. So why aren't we looking at something more than just cars? And I'm not talking about buses that end up in the same traffic as everybody else because they use the same streets and bridges. I'm talking about a true alternative running on its own dedicated right-of-way, perhaps with upgraded pre-existing infrastructure. Well, there is this abandoned mile-long railroad tunnel and large movable bridge on a right-of-way that connects East Providence and Providence, which is separated by the Seekonk River and is adjacent to the problematic Washington Street Bridge. The planners of the Moving Forward Rhode Island 2040 Long Range Transportation Plan know of this and have proposed the use of this line with a new Rhode Island light rail system. This is just one of the numerous proposals talked about for running transportation services through the tunnel. Buses, trolleys, and light rail have been mentioned over the past 20 years, but even as far back as the 1970s, it had been considered to be used to bring passenger rail service back to the East Bay, all the way to Bristol, Rhode Island. Unfortunately, none of these promising proposals have ever come to fruition, but as recently as 2019, it was considered for reactivation yet again. Unfortunately, though, the light rail proposal, which would have run from East Providence over the Seekonk River through the East Side Tunnel before connecting with more proposed right rail systems within Providence, was scrapped. Going forward, it seems as though buses are planned to handle the work on the pre-existing streets and road bridges to East Providence. Well, look how that turned out when nobody could move through the streets of East Providence less than 2 weeks before Christmas. Today, for a new light rail system, people would need reliable, on schedule, and sustainable trains operating to bridge the gap between East Providence and Providence. Looking back, we had just that between 1900 and 1932, when the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad ran electric trains every few minutes between these points. It is crazy to think we had a much better connected rail system operating years ago, but now new proposals on pre-existing right-of-ways and infrastructure are still a long way off, if they ever happen. We sure could have used this recently, and with the bridge closure, it really hurts to see we had a true alternative mode of transportation previously. I wonder how many people looked over at the stuck-up bridge and thought about the possibilities or relief it could have brought while sitting in traffic today. The following clip shows some scenes of the East Side Tunnel and Railroad Bridge in operation in the 1950s, as well as some footage from 2023 showing what remains today. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video showing the importance of rail as an alternative mode of transportation, as well as a look back at history. I want to note the original copy of these 16mm films was lost some years ago, but thankfully they were uploaded to YouTube before then. If you happen to know the whereabouts of the original copy of these films, please let me know in the comments section. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for future videos just like this.